I'm Bartini, and you're watching Laughspin live from the newly christened corner, George Carlin Way.
If my dad was alive, he would be mortified right now, basically. He would be, do you want me to talk in there? Mortified, completely mortified. Because he did not like things like this. He didn't like awards, he didn't like prizes. He did like the Mark Twain Prize. He was happy about that. But now that he's dead, we get to do these things for him. We get to do this.
It's coming!
Carlin never seemed to respect the line in the sand his audience drew, and that's why I loved him the most. Is he never allowed the possibility of losing the audience to stop him from going into a material idea. He was funny with it, but he never seemed to worry like, oh, this is beyond where they're going to want to go with me. And I think that's the thing about Carlin that's the best.
So Amsterdam Avenue was heaven, man. That's where we shot crap. George used to smoke dope right over there. This was a cool neighborhood, man. And everybody loved one another. We didn't care if you spoke Spanish or whatever you were doing. As long as you were cool, you were cool. And he grew up here and he loved it. And it's right that he get his name up here in the neighborhood.
I actually told the city they want to hang it as high as possible, because otherwise we're going to be replacing this damn sign every week. I think once you get up there and you see where the sign is hanging, you see directly off the, behind it in the park, there's a nice little alcove built in, which I think would be a perfect place for some fans to get high, smoke a J in George's honor, and hang out. And, you know, anytime that they're going to do that, to obviously tweet me a half hour in advance so I can get across the park from my place and join them.
He outsold me in albums and ticket sales. There's no competition in show business. He's one of the best of all time, and he loved his craft, and he was diligent at it. Should have taken better care of himself instead of his work, or less of his work. The guy was the best.
Walking the streets with my dad in the 70s was terrifying because people would shout out of windows, "Hey, hippie freak, go home." But in the 80s and the 90s and the noughts, especially when we came to New York City, policemen would stop in the middle of the street, park their car, running, double park it, and run to my dad and get him to sign their ticket because they loved him so much. I mean, that was a magical thing to see the love people had for my dad and how much he changed their life, their minds, the trajectory of their lives.
I think that is just an amazing thing, and all the work and the people that it took to get that to happen, you can't thank them enough. But for George Carlin, as a comic myself, who listened to him as a kid and kind of used him as like the template of what an amazing comic is and what the comedy could be, you can't say enough about the guy. I mean, he really is an icon. He's a legend, and there's nobody else who took it as far as you could and can in comedy than George Carlin. So I'd say Carlin is basically that, you know, the North Star of comedy. You're always heading towards that.
Everything from the work ethic to the transgressive nature of what comedy is, to his whole shunning of traditional. I mean, it's just so many levels of what George Carlin was that are like what every comedian aspires to.
My most favorite quote, if that's proper English, most favorite, my favorite quote there is that George Carlin said it's the duty of a comedian to find out where the line is drawn and deliberately step over it, which he did so many times over his career.
I think it's great that a comedian who stands for such great things is getting recognition, you know, in a society that is constantly oppressing people. Here's a guy who spoke out against oppression, and the government's actually showing him some respect, so it's kind of a miracle.